Hello and welcome to Rev Sports. I'm Gargi Raut, and joining me for this conversation is Shomik Chakrabarti, Bharat Ramraj, and Debashish Sen. Now, what we all saw last night was India facing another home series defeat. This has been a pattern in the past 12 months, and today we're doing a post-mortem of the India versus New Zealand series, ODI series in particular. And the way we're going to go about this is we're going to take three departments: batting, of course, bowling, of course, and then team selection. And I will ask all three of my panelists to give their opinions on what went wrong in these departments, what went right, and how they rate how the series went. Shomik, I'll start with you. Let's start with the batting department. Of course, we saw some failures at the top of the order. Virat Kohli pretty much had to take the load. It was KL Rahul in one game. Last night it was Virat Kohli. But you did not see a cohesive contribution from the batting lineup, if I were to say so. How do you rate the batting department, and what do you think went wrong, and what do you think went right?
Yeah, Gargi, I'm coming to that. But before that, doing a postmortem of a series that was as relevant as New Zealand sending eight rookie players. I mean, I see T20 on the face of it. This series was totally inconsequential. Yes, India lost it, but once again, we have to confirm, and we have to keep it in mind that once Jasprit Bumrah and Hardik Pandya return to the 50 over format, the balance of the side would be entirely different. That said, going back to the series, the first thing you asked me about batting. One of the major aspects are the two openers not converting their starts. If you look at the first two matches, both Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill got starts. Rohit got into the 20s and then got out. Shubman Gill scored a couple of 50s and then got out. And in those conditions, you don't expect Shubman Gill of all people to get out after getting past his half century. So you at least expected Shubman Gill to convert one of those 50s into 100. So that was one thing. Virat Kohli is back to his 2017-18 vintage. He is a run machine once again, and it looks like he won't be getting out at all. The Rajkot game where the ball was stopping as a sluggish nature of the pitch, but more than that, he was caught up by the law of averages. Simple as that. The way he has been scoring, I would put it down I put Virat Kohli's failure at Rajkot down to the law of averages. But the two openers not converting their starts was a problem. Another problem was that Ravindra Jadeja not contributing in the middle order, because apart from Kuldeep Yadav, you had Ravindra Jadeja, and you banked on Ravindra Jadeja. Even on home patch, he couldn't. I mean, he stitched a 73-run partnership, but he failed to continue. So that was another area that at India hit India hard. We will obviously discuss about the bowling aspects, and one of the reasons that Indian spinners were outbowled by their New Zealand counterparts. But I'm keeping it to batting only because you asked me about batting, and these are the two main things: the openers not converting their starts, and Shubman Gill at the post-match press conference yesterday admitted it, and also Ravindra Jadeja not contributing much in the middle order.
All right. Devashish, over to you next. How do you rate the batting department, and and the negatives that you're taking away from this series?
You're talking about the positive. Only positive is Virat Kohli. Means leaving aside Virat, I think there is hardly any positive. Yes, Shubman Gill did score a couple of 50s. Rohit Sharma did get a start, but he could not convert, as Shomikda mentioned, into a big score. But I think the problem is Shreyas Iyer. The first match he did score 49, but the last two matches, the manner in which he got out, I mean, once again, he has showed least amount of responsibility when it comes to his stroke yesterday, and there was no need for that shot. And obviously, for a number four batter, when you need to put obviously put a price on your wicket, but that was not the case with Shreyas, and so it was a huge disappointment for the Indian team. And I think, and see, there was a huge expectation which Reyes, after coming back from an injury, he got injured in that third ODI in Australia, and ever since he was out. So for me, the top four, apart from Virat, none of them going and contributing, getting a big score. Yes, Shubman did score a 15 couple of matches, but he did not score a big runs as is the case with Virat Kohli. So if you look at New Zealand, Daryl Mitchell scored 352 runs, and which itself is the main difference between the Indian batting and the New Zealand batting. So Daryl Mitchell alone scored 350, and then the second run scorer for New Zealand is Glenn Phillips with 150. But obviously for India, apart from Virat, none of the batters contributing as much as you want them to. Gargi.
Bharat, your thoughts on this? How are you rating the batting department?
See, for starters, we can't call it as an inconsequential series because I think India have certain issues with their ODI lineup. It's not as bad as Test cricket, but going into the 2027 World Cup, I think they have a few issues. If you look at the batting department itself, I will start with 1 point. Just consider the second ODI played between India and New Zealand. India hit only one sweep. India hit only one sweep or reverse sweep in the entire game, entire innings, and that was by Mr. KL Rahul. New Zealand scored 7.5% of the runs with the help of sweeps and reverse sweeps. So I think this is a problem. India have a spin problem. Even if you look at New Zealand's spin bowler in the final game, they had Jaden Lennox, an inexperienced spinner on a flat pitch, written figures of 10 overs, no maidens, 42 runs, 2 wickets. So he basically is out bowling both your spinners Jadeja and Kuldeep Yadav, and that is basically because Indians again didn't play a single sweep shot or a reverse sweep of Jaden Lennox. So in these modern times, when spinners are bowling quicker and quicker through the air, I think Indians are missing out by not playing this particular stroke. Obviously, I'm not saying try to play every ball with this, try to negate the threat of every ball with a sweep or reverse sweep. I'm not saying that. Obviously, you still have to tackle those deliveries that are bowled on a good length by smothering the spin, by trying to use your reach, and then you have to bring out the sweep or reverse sweep. Otherwise, spinners will keep bowling quicker and quicker to the air and continue to outbowl your spinners as well. So India have a problem against spin. That is one point to consider. Obviously, the second point to look at is if you look at India's top order, only Virat Kohli scored 100, basically scored 100 out there. Rohit Sharma couldn't contribute. I'm not saying Rohit Sharma should be dropped after one bad series, but when your top order batters are not able to score hundreds in ODI cricket, even if they score 50s, it's of not much use in 50-over cricket because your top orders batters have to set the platform by getting hundreds, and only Virat Kohli was able to do that with 190, 190 odd knock, and another one was 100 or odd runs. So that is, I think, the second problem. And then you look at India's middle order, there are problems as well. Ravindra Jadeja obviously is not scoring enough runs with the bat in hand. He's not able to, not just able to play shots, he's not able to rotate the strike as well. He had a good matchup in the final game. That was against left-arm spinner Jaden Lennox, bowling from over the wicket to a left-hand batter. Still, he was not able to clear the boundary rope over the mid-wicket region. If you're not able to get through a favorable matchup, left-hand batter versus left-arm spin, then I would say it spells trouble for you in this format. He's a great test cricketer, but in this format, I think he's really struggling or in limit overs cricket. So India have issues at the top of the order, at least in this series. And then they have problems, couple of problems in the middle order to look at. And finally, I think India have to find solution against spin bowlers. Otherwise, many more spinners will come to India. Even it could be Jaden Lennox type of inexperienced spinner will come over to India and do well, and India will suffer, I think, a few more series losses at home.
Now, heading over to the bowling department, Shomik, same question. How do you rate it, the positives and the negatives? You're on mute.
You're mute.
Harshit Rana's progress is certainly one of the positives. The way he is shaping up, Harshit Rana, and he has been at the receiving end of vicious trolls. So the way The way he showed character, the way he has shown resilience. Harshit Rana's progress is obviously one of the positives. But once again, given that it's an inconsequential series, I will not count on what that one. That one. I mean, if you ask me to pick one thing about the bowling department, I would pick Kuldeep Yadav, because Kuldeep Yadav is part of the T20 squad and is part of the T20 World Cup squad. So, going into the T20 World Cup squad or the T20 squad, is it a concern that Kuldeep Yadav looked very, very flat in this series? And if you look, and it is not a case in isolation. If you go back to the Test series against South Africa also, there Simon Harmer outbowled him. He was not on top of his game, Kuldeep Yadav. So apart from that first day in Guwahati, don't think, and Devashish was there also, I don't think he bowled, he bowled at his peak, Kuldeep Yadav. At the same time, in the T20 squad, there is a thing that he is first of all he is not an automatic pick in terms of playing 11 in the T20 squad. And even when he is playing, he will be complemented by Varun, and Varun is a match winner. So Varun will create pressure and he will be benefited from that. India will have Hardik Pandya and Jasprit Bumrah, those two coming back in the middle overs and taking wickets. That will create pressure. And Kuldeep, if he is playing, then he can capitalize on that. What he lacked in this series also, that he was not complemented by Jadeja. Jadeja from the other end, he bowled 18 overs, I guess, and gave away 141 runs without a wicket. So it was very pretty average. It was not like Jadeja. So he didn't have support. Kuldeep didn't have support from the other end. He didn't have bowlers, fast bowlers coming back in the middle overs and taking wickets and creating pressure. All things combined, but all said and done, Kuldeep Yadav for me still is a bit of concern. Although at the press conference, Shubman said no, it shouldn't be a concern. But I think Kuldeep, as and when he plays in the T20 format against New Zealand and also at the T20 World Cup, I think he needs to raise his game.
What about you, Devashish? How are you looking at the bowling department throughout the series?
Yeah, obviously, it is definitely a bit of a concern. Yes, you might argue that it is a conditions favorable for the batters, but still, you need to have bowlers who will give you wickets. That means obviously, India has tried both Harshit and Prasid. They have gone wickets, but at the same time, they have gone for a lot of runs. And especially, I would talk about Harshit Rana. If I would say that's that third match, Rohit Sharma at one time was very frustrated. Means obviously there was a fielder which was placed for a particular delivery, and despite the fielder being placed at a particular position, he erred in his line and length, and he got a boundary. So these are small things that you need to think about. Means and that has been the big major worry for India. Means trying to keep the pressure. Means in the middle overs, beat. Yes, the spinners haven't taken as much as wicket as you want, especially Kuldeep Yadav, Jadeja going wicketless. That is also a glaring aspect. Ravindra Jadeja going wicketless in a series, in a three-match series, and he was not even bowled his quota of overs. So that is definitely a huge concern. So I would say whether Indian team management will look ahead in perhaps giving an opportunity to an Akshar Patel, and because the next series that India plays in is against England in June. So yes, there is a bit of concern that I have no problem whatsoever in India going in with trying or giving more chances to a Prasid or a Harshid or anyone for that matter. But the problem is, despite them taking wickets, but they are also not leaking runs, and that is not doing any good to the team. When you leak runs, means despite the field placing and you bowl short, you odd in your line and length, and that doesn't help. That doesn't help the team's cause. Means, and all of a sudden, one over of 15 runs or 16 runs, that can strip the momentum for the opposition team, and that is what has happened in this series time and again. Time and again in this series, because India has leaked runs too many, I would say, in the middle overs, and that has been a biggest concern. Because when Bumrah is there, Means you can actually at times you can bring in Bumrah and he can bowl you a couple of overs, which was the case with Mohammad Siraj. Mohammad Siraj was tried in the middle over and he did reasonably well. Means he is coming after a long injury layer, but if you see, he has not gone for plenty of runs and an economy rate under 5. I would say it's brilliant. Yes, wicket column, he has only picked 3 wickets, but at the same time, India needs to find that third pacer. Third pacer, will it be Arshdeep or will you go for a Harshit Rana? Because Harshit Rana, yes, more than his batting, I think India needs to see him as a bowler primarily, because he is in the side primarily as a bowler.
Bharat, your thoughts?
See, in the bowling department, I go back to the same old stuff that I've said. I think in Indian conditions, your spinners have to strike somewhere in the middle overs. So where games are won and or lost in ODI cricket, it's basically the middle overs. Because what happens is in modern day ODI cricket, in middle overs, the ball is hardly doing anything. The pitch is hardly offering any help. So that is when the opposition teams or the batting team tries to consolidate, tries to build partnerships, and that is where you have to break those partnerships. So basically, that's what exactly happened in the final game as well. India had New Zealand at 6 for 2 or whatever it is. In the middle overs, your spinners couldn't strike. In these conditions, in India, your spinners have to come good. In these conditions, your spinners have to come good. And basically, if you look at our two spinners, main spinners, Jadeja got 0 wickets and Kuldeep Yadav got 3 wickets in 3 matches. Yes, you can give a lot of credit to Daryl Mitchell. I think he's an exceptional player of spin. The way he played, the way he was able to put Kuldeep Yadav's length off by using his reach and negating the threat of those good length deliveries, and then he was able to bring out those sweeps and reverse sweeps. Yes, I agree all that, but still your spinners have to do much better than taking 3 wickets in total over 3 games. So I think that is one of the biggest problems, because if you look at your pace bowlers, yes, there has been a lot of criticism over India's pace bowlers, but still your inexperienced pace bowlers as well. They got the wickets. They got 16 of the 36 wickets, 30 wickets, potential wickets in this series, but your spinners are contributing only 3 wickets. So I think that is where India's biggest problem was. Their spinners just couldn't make any kind of impression in this series, and that is why I think one of the main reasons why India lost the series. Just compare it with how the New Zealand's Jaden Lennox bowled. An inexperienced spinner comes over to India, is getting a little more dip than Ravindra Jadeja. That tells something about the kind of bad form that Ravindra Jadeja is in, because he's an inexperienced spinner is clearly outbowling your veteran spinner by getting a little more dip, imparting a little more revs on the ball. He's with clever changes of pace when he was bowling to Virat Kohli. So that tells everything you want to know about the two Indian spinners, including Kuldeep Yadav.
Yeah, I think Gargi is having some issues with her internet, but I will just carry forward the discussion. Shomita, is it time that India needs to look ahead with Akshar Patel in the ODI format?
They will. They will. Devashish, the fact of the matter is that, uh, see, we keep talking about there shouldn't be any shortage of motivation. Players keep talking about there is no lack of motivation when you are playing for your country, stuff like that. But scratch beneath the surface, go beyond, and you know, and I know that it matters. It does matter, because when you have nothing to play for, you are playing a three-match ODI series with nothing. Your 50 over World Cup is almost 2 years away, so you are playing just going through the motions. It does affect the psyche. When after the T20 World Cup, ODI cricket would be in focus, then they will play from the England series onwards. These players will play with a different intensity. And after the T20 World Cup, when the Indian ODI squad would be picked, Akshar Patel is going to be the first choice left-arm spinner in that side. He would have been here also, but because of the T20 World Cup, and you have to keep in mind that he is coming back from a bad viral infection. A big chunk of Vijay Hazare Trophy he couldn't play because he was weak and he was recovering from a bad viral. So that is the reason why Akshar Patel was not picked. But going ahead, Akshar Patel is going to be India's first choice left arm spinner in the 50 over format as well, like the T20 format. So Ravindra Jadeja, I think his career in T20 in white ball cricket at least is entering the twilight zone. Test cricket, he will be there at least until the Border Gavaskar Trophy next season. At least until he will be there. But time has come. Maybe. I'm nobody to judge. There are more qualified people, Ajita Garkar selection committee. But I think time has come to move on from Jadeja in the white ball format. And going ahead, I believe Akshar Patel would be India's first choice left arm spinner in 50 over cricket also.
Bharat, let me just ask you one thing. Yes, Rohit Sharma has got a start in all the three matches, but he couldn't convert. But last series only, we were all talking about Rohit Sharma. Yes, and we were going gaga over Rohit Sharma, given the way he played in the series against Australia, and then followed it up with the series against South Africa. But one thing, now that he is not amongst, I mean, obviously he has failed to capitalize on the start. Would you say to perhaps rotate between Rohit Sharma and Yashasvi Jaiswal, because it is not doing any good for Yashasvi Jaiswal, for the youngster who has done well, tremendously well in the shorter format in T20 cricket, but you dropped him in the one-day side and you bench him. Means all three matches, and it might be the case. So, is it the time that the Indian team management only 15 or 16 matches to go for the 2027 World Cup? Perhaps try a Yashasvi Jaiswal, maybe pick and choose, give some few matches to Rohit and rotate him with Yashasvi Jaiswal, with Shubman Gill, the other opener?
See, I think it's a bit of tricky situation in the sense that if they do it and SSV Jaiswal comes in and scores 100, then the selectors would start to think whether they can go back to Rohit Sharma based on rotation. And even if they go back to Rohit Sharma, I'm just giving you a hypothetical situation. Jaiswal scores 100, they do the rotational, they do it on a rotational basis. Then Rohit Sharma scores a duck. Then obviously again there would be pressure on someone like Rohit Sharma. There would be pressure on the selectors to move ahead of Rohit Sharma. So I think basically they have uh, maybe one choice, that is whether they want to stick with Rohit Sharma or whether they want to move ahead with Jaiswal. What they can maybe do is give once couple of series to Rohit Sharma and then give maybe one series somewhere in between to SSV Jaiswal. That they can do. But again, the selectors will be in under a lot of pressure, under the pump. If Jaiswal, for example, suddenly scores 200 in those 200s in those three games. So that is where I think the problem is. See, from Rohit Sharma's point of view, yes, he had some starts, but as he get older, one thing I've seen in the sport, not just in cricket, even in football, in other team sports as well as, is that the selectors don't have much patience. When you start to get older, when you're 35, 36, 37, 38, we have seen it with a lot of stars. We have seen it with a lot of heroes. So Rohit Sharma is on a slightly sticky wicket, not because he can't play ODI cricket anymore. He can definitely play this format. Tomorrow itself, he might go on to score 100. But as you get older, I think you will be under more and more pressure. So the answer to your question, in my humble opinion, is that they have to either stick with Rohit Sharma until the 2027 World Cup and say to Jaiswal, you are still very young. You will get a few matches in between here or there, but mostly we will stick with Rohit Sharma. And after the 2027 World Cup, you will get your opportunity, or this is the time maybe for them to say to Rohit Sharma, we will invest in the future because we feel Jaiswal is a good player.
Shomita, I
Devashish,
would just like to, yeah.
Devashish, just my two pence. I think any conversation on Rohit Sharma at this moment in time is unnecessary. Rohit Sharma should be judged after the England tour, when he will play five ODIs, I guess, or three ODIs, whatever, after the England tour. Because here is a man who won the Man of the Series award in Australia, came back, played against South Africa, scored three matches against South Africa, scored two half centuries. He he couldn't convert a couple of starts in a low profile series against New Zealand. That's it, and there ends the matter. In England, when new series will begin, and I repeat that next year after the World Cup, when the focus would be on the 50 over format, T20 ODI cricket would be played with a different intensity. So after the England series, it would be better and fair to judge Rohit At this moment in time, any conversation on Rohit, whether he should be there, whether he should open, yes, it's great to have a backup like Jaiswal. He's a champion player. But then again, we are talking about Rohit Sharma here, no less. So Rohit Sharma, any conversation on Rohit Sharma at this moment in time, I feel it's unnecessary.
Fair enough. But let me ask both Bharat and Shobikda, do you think that there's definitely a lack of clarity when it comes to team selection? You pick a Ravi Bishnoi. Obviously, there is no chance of him getting an opportunity. You speak a Ayush Badoni. I don't know where did he come get into the side at the first come. There are so many other players who are waiting in the wings. But so, do you think, Shomik, that there has been a lack of clarity as far as recent selections are concerned?
Yes, yes, absolutely. Because see, Washington Sundars replacement Ayush Badoni, you have picked a player whom you couldn't play. Even in Indian conditions, you had to rely on a seam bowler, dibbly dobbly seam bowling all rounder, Nitish Kumar Reddy. So, which means that Ayush Badoni, the team management didn't consider Ayush Badoni good enough to play. That is one thing. Once again, at the T20I squad, you are replacing an all-rounder. You are bringing on a leg spinner. So, which means you are making a departure from your standpoint that we will back multi-skill cricketers. So you are going. It is, if you look at it from a different angle, it is a welcome sign that you are going for the specialist. That said, I don't know what wrong Shehbaz Ahmed did, because Shehbaz Ahmed was there when there was last time around. You picked Shehbaz Ahmed. He didn't get a game. He is an all-rounder. So, is there an embargo as regards playing or as regards having two left-arm spin bowling all-rounder in the team? Is there a new playing condition? Is there a new playing condition? I'm not aware of it, but I don't know about the thought process. But then I totally agree with you. There is a certain lack of transparency.
Bharat, your views, please.
Yeah, the same question that about
Yeah, I
clarity.
want
Yeah,
to
yeah,
talk.
yeah. Yeah. So this about clarity, what I can say is, yeah, yes, there are problems when you think about someone like Ravi Bishnoi coming into the equation for any of for either the T20I team or even for the matter if it is for the ODI team, it doesn't really make sense because he's not been performing well when it comes to T20 cricket. Even in the IPL, he kind of looked out of sorts and he was outbowled by his younger spin partner as well. So that tells you where Ravi Bishnoi is as far as his bowling is concerned. Someone like Badoni, you still look at him as a batter. Okay, even if you want to select him, okay, fine, it is fine, but you still look at him as a batter, not as someone as a batting all-rounder or on those lines. Even if you consider poor Nitesh Reddy, I think if you look at Nitesh Reddy in limited overs cricket, I look at him nowadays as someone who can go on to become a top six batter who can bowl a few overs. But you can't have Nitesh Reddy playing somewhere at number eight and ask him to bowl some 6 7 overs. I don't think it is his forte currently. At least currently bowling is not his forte. He can only bat at number six and give you 3 4 overs of medium pace bowling. That is, I think, his best chance of getting into this particular side, ODI side. So there are problems with how the selection is done. Obviously, about Ravindra Jadeja, there's a lot of question marks about him. I don't think he can again in any ODI team. He can't bat at number six or seven in 2026. He might have done a job somewhere in 2013 or 15, but not in 2026 because even on a flat pitch like in indoor, he was struggling to get going, struggling to hit the big shots. So he also can't play in an ODI side. So there are problems with the selection. Yes, you can talk about the inexperienced pace bowlers, but somewhere the selectors have rightly or wrongly decided that they are going to back these two inexperienced pace bowlers ahead of the 2027 World Cup. That is fine. They're going to give them chances. Maybe if they fail, someone else will come in, Prince Yadav or whoever it is will come into the equation. But that's still fine because they have decided this is what we are going to do. So at least they have some clarity of thought there. But in terms of other selections, I think that there are definitely issues with Ravindra Jadeja, with how someone like suddenly Bishnoi came into the equation. Shabazz Ahmad was somewhere there. Now he's not there in the squad itself. So all this confusion is definitely there when it comes to India's selection policies.
Yeah, absolutely. We also want that there is some bit of clarity when it comes to team selection, but there will be questions that will be asked. Means obviously New Zealand coming to India and winning a ODI series after 37 years for the first time. Means yes, but the thing is that if you with the 5-match T20I series and the T20 World Cup next, if India does well, then all these series loss against New Zealand will be thrown, will be forgotten. So, and then we have the IPL. So let's hope that in the next series that is coming up against England, which is a long time ahead, that India put up a perfect combination and pull up their socks, because there are definitely a few grey areas, concerning areas, be it the form of Shreyas Iyer or Ravindra Jadeja's form, that will be answered in the next series coming up. So until then, thank you, gentlemen, both Bharat and Shomikta, for joining. Gargi was not available because of some internet issues, but she will be back tomorrow with 12 p.m. live. So keep watching Red Sports to get all the updates throughout our coverage of sports. This is me, Devashish, signing out. Keep watching Red Sports.
Thank you.
Yeah.